Hey everyone, we are back with the 345, and this is stage 2, so we're through the diagnostic work and through the first step of the revival just to get it moving and figure out what the major stuff was that it needed. And now we've got a couple hours on the machine. We're up to 490. We started about 485, 486. We've changed the fuel filter again because it was getting clogged. There's still some stuff coming around, getting sloshed around the tank, but it's getting much better. We've actually cleaned up the unit too, pressure washed it, serviced the spindles and the blades. There was a bunch of baling twine and stuff wrapped around the blades, so fixed all that. Swapped these deck casters around so that the good ones are in the front, and put a couple hours of mowing on it, and then started working on all the little details here. So first thing is I pulled the wheel bearings apart and removed the inner seal on both of those wheel bearings, and then greased that hub because there's no grease fitting and there's no way to add grease. So yeah, now those are all greased up real nice. They move much smoother than they did before. Did both sides. It looks like this wheel had been taken off and somebody boogered the snap ring up. The snap ring was just about to fall off. There's a snap ring that holds the cap to the caps on there, kind of hard. There's a snap ring that prevents the wheel from coming off of the axle shaft, and they just boogered it all up. We're noticing that there are some minor leaks. So we've got the classic FD series plastic valve cover leak right here, which we kind of figured we would have, but otherwise the engine's like leak free. There's nothing else really. So we're going to do valve cover gaskets on it. We played around with doing some heat shield stuff here in the front, and it ended up just kind of being a waste of time. I did some research, and it looks like the GX 345, which is the latest iteration of this machine series, didn't even really have anything except this deflector shield here to push the air down and to cool the muffler and the exhaust. So we're going to leave it like that. I think technically this guy came with a little side heat shield on each side that went there on either side, but it'll be all right. We pressure tested the cooling system just to make sure it was doing its thing, and that looks good. It held 15 psi for over an hour, so it's fine there. Needed to replace this hose here that goes down into the overflow, and didn't have the right diameter tube. The one from Kawasaki is some metric size that I didn't have, so we just used something that we did have, and then put a little barb adapter in there up to a Tygon line. It goes up there just to make sure that's all sealed, and it can actually pull from the tank. And now we're just going to monitor the situation there and make sure that we're not losing any coolant. Engine oil still nice and clean, hasn't used a drop of oil at all. We did some fixes on the reverse implement option PTO cutout, so there's been some repairs that have happened here. Not going to discuss any of that because that's all safety stuff, and really don't want to advise anybody to repair it. It's more or less it's a safety circuit, so that's a use at your own risk kind of deal there. The time delay module, as we mentioned before, is now deleted, so there is no time delay down in there, and this thing just fires right up, goes right to work, no problems. We got some new seat springs. They're called springs. Basically they're just hard chunks of rubber, so modified those a little bit. These are aftermarket versions, so they're even harder than the factory ones. They didn't really provide much cushioning at all, so drilled a bunch of holes through those to get them to be a little bit more pliable. And you can see there's a different seat on it right now. This will probably just be temporary because I do want to get an actual John Deere seat on there. Had to make a custom bracket for that. So we came up with this little guy right here with a couple adjustments for the seat angle and get a little more comfortable. And now we're just going to put it to work. Now the next couple things we're going to do that it definitely needs is a transmission service. So there's a filter. There's actually two filters. There's one filter screws into the bottom of the transmission down there, and then there is a secondary hydraulic filter underneath the fender pan here that is further filtration for the rest of the hydraulic circuit. So it's going to need to be serviced. I don't know if it's ever been serviced. It's supposed to be done at 50 and then I think every 300 after that. So it should have been changed at least twice so far, and it has, I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to find. We've also got some pulley noise and some belt noise happening from the drive system. So the next thing we're going to tackle is the transmission, fluid and filters, and the drive system. And once we get a couple more hours on it, I think we're going to make the plunge and put a significant chunk of money into it and give it the hood. Get the bumper and the hood replaced, because this just looks like crap. It's a really nice little machine. It just looks like a piece of crap like this, so I'm not comfortable just using it like that. So we'll probably get those aftermarket Kumar Brothers or whatever the other ones are that are on eBay that will fit, that aren't John Deere outrageously priced but still quite expensive. Yeah, that's I think that's about it. We've greased it up and we're ready to just show you it working a little bit. The Kawasaki FD611V that's in this is just a fantastic little engine. Runs so smooth, doesn't use any oil, just a real treat. So I'm glad we saved it. Let's go ahead and pull you back here and let you see some action. All right, let's get some seat time in. That 54-inch makes a quick job of stuff like this. The engine doesn't bog down at all, even through those leaves. And yeah, I could smell a little bit of hot oil. And like I said, it's coming right off there. But what a smooth runner, man. What a sweet little rig, huh? Alright guys, we'll be back with a little more work back in here. Thanks for watching.